The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall. The Secret Teachings of All Ages is perhaps the most comprehensive and complete esoteric encyclopedia ever written. The sheer scope and ambition of this book are stunning. In this book, Manly P. Hall has successfully distilled the essence of more arcane subjects than one would think possible. He covers Rosicrucianism and other secret societies, alchemy, cryptology, Kabbalah, tarot, pyramids, the zodiac, Pythagorean philosophy, masonry, gemology, Nicholas Flamel, The Identity of William Shakespeare, The Life and Teachings of both Hermes Trismegistus, the Kabbalah, the Homeric legend, the Tree of the Sephiroth, Mystic Christianity, and more than 200 illustrations. This is essential reading for anyone wishing to explore esoteric knowledge. Excuse me. Secret Teachings. Okay. Preface. Numerous volumes have been written as commentaries upon the secret system of philosophy existing in the ancient world, but the ageless truths of life, like many of Earth's greatest thinkers, have usually been clothed in shabby garments. The present work is an attempt to supply a tone worthy of those seers and sages whose thoughts are the substance of its pages. To bring about this coalescence of beauty and truth has proved most costly, but I believe that the result will produce an effect upon the mind of the reader, which will more than justify the expenditure. Work upon the text of this volume was begun the first day of January 1926 and has continued almost uninterruptedly for over 2 years. The greater part of the research work, however, was carried on prior to the writing of the manuscript. The collection of reference material was begun in 1921, and 3 years later the plan for the book took definite form. For the sake of clarity, all footnotes were eliminated. The various quotations and references to other authors being embodied in the text in their logical order. The bibliography is appended. Excuse me. Appended primarily to assist those interested in selecting for future study the most authoritative and important items dealing with philosophy and symbolism. To make readily accessible to abstruse information contained in the book, an elaborate topical cross-index is included. I make no claim for either the infallibility or the originality of any statement herein contained. I have studied the fragmentary writings of the ancients sufficiently to realize that dogmatic utterances concerning their tenets are worse than foolhardy. Traditionalism is the curse of modern philosophy, particularly that of European schools. While many of the statements contained in this treatise may appear at first wildly fantastic, I have sincerely endeavored to refrain from haphazard metaphysical speculation, presenting the material as far as possible in the spirit rather than the letter of the original authors. By assuming responsibility only for the mistakes which may appear herein, I hope to escape the accusation of plagiarism, which has directed against nearly every writer on the subject of mystical philosophy. Having no particular ism of my own to promulgate, I have not attempted to twist the original writings to substantiate preconceived notions, nor have I distorted doctrines in any effort to reconcile the irreconcilable differences present in the various systems of religio-philosophic thought. The entire theory of the book is diametrically opposed to the modern method of thinking, for it is concerned with subjects openly ridiculed by the sophists of the 20th century. Its true purpose is to introduce the mind of the reader to a hypothesis of living wholly beyond the pale of materialistic theology, philosophy, or science. The mass of abstruse material between its covers is not susceptible to perfect organization, but so far as possible, related topics have been grouped together. Rich, as the English language is in.
Fueled up. Lock in.
Excuse me. Rich, as in the. Am I still getting cold? Sorry. Rich, as in the language, English language. Continuing. Is in media of expression. It is curiously lacking in terms suitable to the conveyance of abstract philosophical premises. A certain intuitive grasp of the subtler meaning concealed within groups of inadequate words is necessary. Therefore, to an understanding of the ancient mystery. Oh my God! Stop. Of the ancient mystery teachings. Although the majority of the items in the bibliography are in my own library, I wish to acknowledge gratefully the assistance rendered by the public libraries of San Francisco and Los Angeles, the libraries of the Scottish Rite in San Francisco and Los Angeles, the libraries of the University of California in Berkeley, and Mechanics Library in San Francisco, and the Pratoma Theosophical Library at Ojai, California. Special recognition for their help is also due to the following persons: Mrs. Max Heindel, Mrs. Alice Palmer Henderson, Mr. Ernest Dawson and staff, Mr. John Howell, Mr. Paul Elder, Mr. Philip Watson Hackett, and Mr. John R. Ruxtell. Single books were lent by other persons and organizations to whom thanks are also given. Sorry. Continuing. Single books were lent by other persons and organizations to whom thanks are also given. The matter of translation was the greatest single task in the research work incident to the preparation of this volume. Let me see something. I'm just a little distracted. So, there's nothing I can do. Message request from class settings. It's not working. Anyways. Okay, I'm sorry. The matter of the translations was the greatest single task in the research work incident due to the preparation of this volume. The necessary German translations, which required nearly 3 years, were generously undertaken by Mr. Alfred Berry, who declined all remuneration for his labor. The Latin, Italian, French, and Spanish translations were made by Professor Homer P. Earl. The Hebrew text was edited by Rabbi Jacob M. Alco. Miscellaneous short translations.
Checking account in 2 minutes and get paid earlier to enjoy a festive spring.
Miscellaneous short translations and checking also were done by various individuals. The editorial work was under the supervision of Dr. C. B. Rollinson, through whose able efforts literary order was often brought out of literary chaos. Special recognition is also due the services rendered by Mr. Robert B. Tummons of the staff of H.S. Crocker Company, Inc., to whom were assigned the technical difficulties of fitting the text matter into its allotted space. For much of the literary charm of the work, I am also indebted to Mr. M. Saxon, to whom the entire manuscript was first dictated, and to whom was also entrusted the preparation of the index. The splendid efforts of Mr. J. Augustus Knapp, the illustrator, have resulted in a series of colored plates which add materially to the beauty and completeness of the work. The printing of the book was in the hands of Mr. Frederick E. Keys of H.S. Crocker Company, Inc., whose great personal interest in the volume has been manifested by an untiring effort to improve the quality thereof through the gracious cooperation of Dr. John Henry Nash, the foremost designer of printing on the American continent. The book appears in unique and appropriate form, embodying the finest elements of the printer's craft. An increase in the number of plates and also a finer quality of workmanship that was first contemplated have been made possibly by Mr. C. E. Benson of the Los Angeles Engraving Company, who entered heart and soul into the production of this volume. The pre-publication sale of this book has been without known precedent in book history. Subscription list for the first edition of 550 copies was entirely closed a year before the manuscript was placed in the printer's hands. The second, or King Solomon edition, consisting of 500 copies, and the third, or Theosophical edition, consisting of 200 copies, were sold before the finished volume was conceived from the printer. For so ambitious a production, this constitutes a unique achievement. The credit for this extraordinary sales program belongs to Mrs. Maud F. Gallagher, who had as her ideal not to sell the book in the commercial sense of the word, but to place it in the hands of those particularly interested in the subject matter it contains. Valuable assistance in this respect was also rendered by numerous friends who had attended my lectures and who, without compensation, undertook and successfully accomplished the distribution of the book. In conclusion, the author wishes to acknowledge gratefully his indebtedness to each one of the hundreds of subscribers through whose advance payments the publication of this folio was made possible. To undertake the enormous expense involved was entirely beyond the individual means, and those who invested in the volume had no assurance of its production and no security other than their faith in the integrity of the writer. I sincerely hope that each reader will profit from the perusal of this book, even as I have profited from the writing of it. The years of labor and thought expended upon it have meant much to me. The research work discovered to many great truths. The writing of it, discovered to me the laws of order and patience. The printing of it discovered to me new wonders of the arts and crafts. And the whole enterprise has discovered to me a multitude of friends whom otherwise I might never have known. And so, the words of John Bunyan, I punned it down until at last it came to be, for length and breadth, the bigness which you see. Manly P. Hall, Los Angeles, California, May 28, 1928. Introduction. Philosophy is the science of estimating values. The superiority of any state of substance over another is determined by philosophy. By assigning a position, of primary importance to what remains when all that is secondary has been removed. Philosophy thus becomes the true index of priority or emphasis in the realm of speculative thought. The mission of philosophy a priori is to establish the realm of speculative thought. The mission of philosophy The mission of philosophy a priori is to establish the relation of manifested things to their invisible ultimate cause or nature. Philosophy, writes Sir William Hamilton, has been defined as the science of things divine and human, and of the causes in which they are contained. Cicero, the science of effects by their causes. Hobbes, the science of sufficient reasons. Leibniz, the science of things possible inasmuch as they are possible. Wolff, the science of things evidently deducted from first principles. Descartes, the science of truths, sensible and abstract. De Condillac, the appreciation of reason to its legitimate objects. Tinneman, the science of the relations of all knowledge to the necessary ends of human reason. Kant, the science of original form of the ego or material or mental self. Excuse me. The science of sciences. Fichte. The science of the absolute. Von Schelling. The science of the absolute indifference of the ideal and real. Von Schelling. Or the identity of identity and non-identity. Hegel. See lectures on metaphysics and logic. The 6 headings under which the disciplines of philosophy are commonly classified are metaphysics, which deals with such abstract subjects as cosmology, theology, and the nature of being; logic, which deals with the laws governing rational thinking, or, as it has been called, the doctrine of fallacies; ethics, which is the science of morality, individual responsibility, and character, concerned chiefly with an effort to determine the nature of good psychology, which is devoted to investigation and classification of those forms of phenomena referable to a mental origin. Epistemology, which is the science concerned primarily with the nature of knowledge itself, and the question of whether it may exist in an absolute form. And aesthetics, which is the science of the nature of and the reactions awakened by the beautiful, the harmonious, the elegant, and the noble. Plato regarded philosophy as the greatest good ever imparted by divinity to man. In the 20th century, however, it has become a ponderous and complicated structure of arbitrary and irreconcilable notions, yet each substantiated by almost incontestable logic. The lofty theorems of the old academy, which Iamblichus likened to the nectar and ambrosia of the gods, have been so adulterated by opinion, which Herodotus declared to be a falling science of the mind, that the heavenly mead would now be quite unrecognizable to this great Neoplatonist. Convincing evidence of the increasing superficiality of modern scientific and philosophic thought is the persistent drift towards materialism. When the great excuse me. Continuing. Okay. Plato regarded philosophy as the greatest good ever imparted by divinity to man. Let me see. In the 20th century, however, it has become a ponderous and complicated structure of arbitrary and irreconcilable notions, yet each substantiated by almost incontestable logic. The lofty theorems of the old academy, which Iamblichus likened to the nectar and ambrosia of the gods, have been so adulterated by opinion, which Herodotus declared to be a falling sickness of the mind, that the heavenly mead would now be quite unrecognizable to this great Neoplatonist. Convincing evidence of the increasing superficiality of modern scientific and philosophic thought, it is its persistent drift towards materialism. When the great astronomer, here we are, continuing, Laplace was asked by Napoleon why he had not mentioned God in his Traité de la Mécanique Céleste, that the mathematician naively replied, "Sire, I had no need for that hypothesis." In his treatise on atheism, Sir Francis Bacon tersely summarizes the situation thus: "A little philosophy inclineth man's mind to atheism, but depth in philosophy bringeth men's minds about to religion." The Metaphysics of Aristotle opens with these words: "All men naturally desire to know." To satisfy this common urge to the unfolding human intellect has explored the extremities of imaginable space without and the extremities of imaginable self within, seeking to estimate the relationship between the one and the all, the effect and the cause, nature and the groundwork of nature, the mind and the source of the mind, the spirit and the substance of the spirit, the illusion and the reality. An ancient philosopher once said, "He who has not even a knowledge of common things is a brute among men. He who has an accurate knowledge of human concerns alone in a man is a man among brutes. But he who knows all that can be known by intellectual energy is a god among men." Man's status in the natural world is determined, therefore, by the quality of his thinking. He whose mind is enslaved to his bestial instincts is philosophically not superior to the brute. He whose rational faculties ponder human affairs is a man, and he whose intellect is elevated to the consideration of divine realities is already a demigod. For his being partakes of the luminosity with which his reason has brought him into proximity. In his encomium of the sciences, Cicero is led to exclaim, "O philosophy, life's guide! O searcher out of virtue and expeller of vices! What could we in every age of men have been without there? Thee, sorry. Thou hast produced cities. Thou hast called men scattered about into the social environment of life. In this age, the word philosophy has little meaning unless accompanied by some other qualifying term. The body of philosophy has been broken up into numerous isms, more or less antagonistic, which have become so concerned with the effort to disapprove each other's fallacies that the sublimer issues of divine order is intrinsic nature and human destiny, have suffered deplorable neglect. The ideal function of philosophy of its intrinsic nature, it should prevent man from ever establishing unreasonable codes of life. Philosophers themselves, however, have frustrated the ends of philosophy by exceeding in their wool gathering those untrained minds whom they are supposed to lead in the straight and narrow path of rational thinking. Philosophy is beyond the space limitations. To list and classify any but the more important of the now recognized schools of philosophy is beyond the space limitations of this volume. The vast area of speculation covered by philosophy will be appreciated best after a brief consideration of a few of the outstanding systems of philosophic discipline which have swayed the world of thought during the last 26 centuries. The Greek, whom the first conferred the appellation of Sophos, the wise, according to the Diogenes Laertius. These were Thales, Solon, Chilon, Pittacus, Bias, Cleobulus, and Periander. Water was conceived by Thales to be the primal principle or element upon which the earth floated like a ship, and earthquakes were the result of disturbances in this universal sea. Since Thales was an Ionian, the school perpetrating his tenets became known as the Ionic. He died in 546 BC and was succeeded by Anaximander, who in turn was followed by Anaximenes, Anaxagoras, and Archelaus, with whom the Ionic school ended. Anaximander, differing from his master Thales, declared measureless and indefinable infinity to be the principal form from which all things were generated. Anaximenes asserted air to be the first element of the universe, that souls and even deity itself were composed of it. Here we are.
Late night? I have a feeling this might help. Think that you want it, won't you take me there? I can.
So in that picture we have, it's the negative end vortex and the positive end torrent. This is called the Babbits Atom. From Babbitt's Principles of Light and Color. Since the postulation of the atomic theory by Democritus, many efforts have been made to determine the structure of atoms and the method by which they unite to form various elements. Even science has not refrained from entering this field of speculation and presents for consideration most detailed and elaborate representations of these minute bodies. By far the most remarkable conception of the atom evolved during the last century is that produced by the genius of Dr. Edwin D. Babbitt, and which is reproduced herewith. The diagram is self-explanatory. It must be borne in mind that this apparently massive structure is actually minute as to defy analysis. Not only did Dr. Babbitt create this form of the atom, but he also contrived a method whereby these particles could be grouped together in an orderly manner and thus result in the formation of molecular bodies. Anaxagoras, whose doctrine savors of atomism, held God to be an infinite self-moving mind, that this divine infinite mind, not enclosed in any body, is the efficient cause of all things, out of the infinite matter consisting of similar parts, everything being made according to its species by the divine mind, with whom all things were at first confusedly mingled together, came and reduced them to order. Archelaus declared the principle of all things to be twofold: mind, which was incorporeal, and air, which was corporeal. The rarefaction and condensation of the latter resulting in fire and water respectively. The stars were conceived by Archelaus to be burning iron places. Heraclitus, who lived 536 through 470 BC and is sometimes included in the Ionic school, in his doctrine of change and eternal flux, asserted fire to be the first element and also the state into which the world would ultimately be reabsorbed. The soul of the world would be regarded as an exhalation from its human parts, and he declared the ebb and flow of the sea to be caused by the sun. After Pythagoras of Samos, its founder, the Italic and or Pythagorean school numbers among its most distinguished representatives Empedocles, Epicurus, Archytas, Alcmaeon, Hippasus, Philolaus, and Eudoxus. Pythagoras, 580 through 500 BC, conceived mathematics to be the most sacred and exact of all the sciences, and demanded of all whom came to him for study and a familiarity with arithmetic, music, astronomy, and geometry. He laid special emphasis upon the philosophic life as a prerequisite to wisdom. Pythagoras was one of the first teachers to establish a community wherein all the members were of mutual assistance to one another in the common attainment of the higher sciences. He also introduced the discipline of retrospection as essential to the development of the spiritual mind. Pythagoreanism may be summarized as a system of metaphysical speculation concerning the relationships between numbers and the causal agencies of existence. This school was also first expounded the theory of celestial harmonies, or the music of the spheres. John Reuchlin said of Pythagoras that he taught nothing to his disciples before the discipline of silence, silence being the first rudiment of contemplation. In his Sophist, Aristotle credits Empedocles with many discovery of rhetoric. Both Pythagoras and Empedocles accepted the theory of transmigration, the latter saying, "A boy I was when then did a maid become a plant. A boy I was, then did a maid become a plant, bird, fish, and in the vast sea swum." Archytas is credited with invention of the screw and the crane. Pleasure he declared to be a pestilence because it was opposed to the temperance of the mind. He considered man without deceit to be as rare as a fish without bones. The Eleatic sect was founded by Xenophans, 570 through 580 BC, who was conspicuous for his attacks upon the cosmologic and theogonic fables of Homer and Hesiod. Xenophans declared that God was one and incorporeal, in substance and figure round, in no way resembling man, that he is all sight and all hearing, but breathes not, that he is all things, the mind and wisdom, not generate, but external, impassible, immutable, and rational. Xenophans believed that all existing things were external, that the world was without beginning or end, and that everything which was generated was subject to corruption. He lived.
Tools from Harbor Freight are doing hard work in real garages across America. Like Nico's.
That's better. Anyways. And Hesiod. And Hesiod. Xenophans declared that God was... Okay, continuing. Xenophans believed that all existing things were eternal, that the world was without beginning or end, and that everything which was generated was subject to corruption. He lived to great age, and is said to have buried his sons with his own hands. Parmenides studied under Xenophans, but never entirely subscribed to his doctrines. Parmenides declared the senses to be uncertain and reason the only criterion of truth. He first asserted the earth to be round and also divided its surfaces into zones of heat and cold. Malicious, who is included in the Eleatic school, held many opinions in common with Parmenides. He declared the universe to be immovable because, occupying all space, there was no place to which it could be moved. He further rejected the theory of a vacuum in space. Cyril of Elia also maintained that a vacuum could not exist. Rejecting the theory of motion, he asserted that there was but one God, who was an eternal, ungenerated being. Like Xenophans, he conceived deity to be spherical in shape. Leucippus held the universe to consist of two parts, one full and the other a vacuum. From the infinite, a host of minute fragmentary bodies descended into the vacuum, where, through a continual agitation, they organized themselves into spheres of substance. The great Democritus, to a certain degree, enlarged upon the atomic theory of Leucippus. Democritus declared the principles of all things to be twofold, atoms and vacuum. Both, he asserted, are infinite, atoms in number, vacuum in magnitude. Thus, all bodies must be composed of atoms or vacuum. Atoms possess two properties, form and size, both characterized by infinite variety. The soul, Democritus also conceived to be atomic in structure and subject to dissolution, with the body, the mind, he believed to be composed of spiritual atoms. Aristotle intimates that Democritus obtained his atomic theory from the Pythagorean doctrine of the monad. Among the Eleatics are also included Protagoras and Anaxarchus. Socrates, 469 through 399 BC, the founder of the Socratic sect, being fundamentally a skeptic, did not force his opinions upon others, but through a medium of questionings caused each man to give expression to his own philosophy. According to Plutarch, Socrates conceived every place as appropriate for reaching, and that the whole world was a school of virtue. Okay. Continuing. He held that the soul existed before the body and prior to immersion therein, was endowed with all knowledge, that when the soul entered into the material form, it became stupefied, but that by discourses upon sensible objects, it was caused to reawaken and to recover its original knowledge. On these premises was based his attempt to stimulate the soul power through irony and inductive reasoning. It has been said of Socrates that the sole subject of his philosophy was man. He himself declared philosophy to be the way of true happiness, and its purpose twofold: one, to contemplate God, and two, to abstract the soul from corporeal sense. The principles of all things he conceived to be three in number: God, matter, and ideas. Of God, he said, "What he is, I know not. What he is not, I know." Matter be defined as the subject of generation and corruption. Idea as an incorruptible substance, the intellect of God. Wisdom he considered the sum of virtues. Among the prominent members of the Socratic sect were Xenophon, Aeschines, Crito, Simon, Glauco, Semias, and Cebes. Professor Zeller, the great authority on ancient philosophies, has recently declared the writings of Xenophon relating to Socrates to be forgeries. When the Cloud of Aristophanes, a comedy written to ridicule the theories of Socrates, was first presented, the great skeptic himself attended the play. During the performance, which caricatured him seated in a basket high in the air studying the sun, Socrates rose calmly in his seat, the better to enable the Athenian spectators to compare his own unprepossessing features with the grotesque mask worn by the actor impersonating him. All right, we'll stop right there. We're at page 15. And we'll do. Alright. Let's do a quick tarot. Alright. All right, we'll do. I'm liking the holographics. Man. Okay, Aries. Can you see anything? Interesting. Crystal bond for Aries. Hi, guys. Taurus, Terror the Terrible. Okay, Gemini. Oh, Gemini! Woo! Gemini got the bad card right here. Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon. Nice. Cancer. What? Cancer. Spike Seadra. Leo. Crystal Miracle. What? Yay! 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 Okay, Virgo. Nice. Libra. Nice, not too bad. Scorpio. Boom. Ah! You guys can tell I love Scorpio, huh? What's wrong with my face? I know I'm doing better. Oh, wow. Sagittarius. Soul absorption. And then Capricorn. Switch point. I wonder what does that mean? How do y'all feel about that? What does that mean to you? And then we've got this one's for Pisces, Cosmic Cyclone, and then Aquarius, Crystal Abundance. All right, just like that, we did our cards. Now for me, personally, Leo, I've been looking for a miracle, and I got it. Crystal Miracle. And you know, Scorpios, they got the self-destruct button. They really do, don't they? My life is in shambles, as one of my best friends, Scorpio, will say. The big fellow. And, well, you know, Aries, we got the crystal bond, you know. Looks like a little fairy, holding a little fairy, okay? And it's a holographic card, so I feel like that's a positive effect that Aries has or is giving right now, okay? And then for Gemini, we've got Terror the Terrible, so Gemini's probably acting up right now, acting a little crazy, causing a little trouble. But the Taurus, no, that was Taurus. Taurus is causing trouble. And then Geminis are kicking everyone's ass right now. Guys, don't nobody mess with no Gemini right now, okay? You're in trouble. But the Cancers, they got the Spike Sierra. So, they're not looking too pretty either. Don't mess with them. And then, like I said, Leo, I got the Crystal Miracle. Virgo, my Virgo, you got the Human. So you're in a good state right now, Virgo. And Libra, Silver Bow and Arrow, hit them with that, right? Spell card. Hit them where it hurts in the heart. And, okay, self-destruct button, Scorpio, you guys got that. Very plain and simple, doesn't need much explanation. Sagittarius, soul absorption. Y'all are probably a little conflicted right now, dealing with people, and y'all are probably feeling drained or something, or y'all are like giving your soul away to other people or dealing with other people's soul. And then Capricorn got, it's a holographic card, and maybe you're gonna make a different turn in your business or in your relationship, and Capricorn's kind of like the head of things, cardinal. What's that? Cardinal Earth, cardinal air. It's cardinal sign, so you guys are definitely leaders. You guys can be kind of hard-headed, but the Pisces got this cosmic cyclone. Y'all are already in another world in a different state all the time, but with that in mind, I think you guys can relate to this picture. You guys are affecting the cosmos with your otherworldly reality. And last but not least, this is the age of Aquarius, and we have abundance now. So that is my reading, my peace, my blessings. Everybody please be safe on this 7/11. Rest in peace to my baby dog, Coco. She died 5 years ago on this day, and I miss her so much. She passed away in my arms, but I'm not going to get into all that. And it is 11:20 p.m. Oh my God, I hate my face now. I'm back though.